How are we doing this morning, kids? Pretty close to on time today, but I have got a lot prepared for you. So let's go ahead and get started. We're not even going to talk about my hair, not even for a second. Let's go. All right, so what I started with we can still look at me with our to-do list. What I started with today was a to-do list. I decided, and the very first thing on our to-do list is to go and do our 100 ways to improve our grammar from our book, which I don't have, but it doesn't matter because what I do have is our to-do list is what I do have. And because I have our to-do list, I don't have to necessarily have that book now, do I? Okay, so let's go and turn that off for a sec. Okay, so today, don't forget, we are on our day off of our normal reading, whatever we're reading on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the early bird classroom. This is really structured for younger people, right? So people who are in elementary school, younger people. And I think that we do things for, a little bit like all the way from kindergarten, counting, all the way to 5th and 6th grade. I think we've got some information there for you guys too. Because today we're going to be talking about nouns, and maybe you're not very good with your grammar when you're talking about nouns. So that's one of the things we're talking about today. All right, let's go and get to our tip number 12 from our 101 ways to improve your grammar. I should have that title here too as well, which I'm going to do when I put up the new slide the next time. What is tip number 12? It is know your nouns. And that's the reason why, if you were here yesterday, why I started telling you that we were going to also talk a little bit about phonics. I knew we were going into our nouns and verbs and pronouns and subjects and all of those kinds of things. And so we're still going to be talking phonics and grammar, as well as now talking math and science. Okay? All right. So know your nouns. What are your nouns? Your nouns are people, places, and things. I have my glasses right here. But they were way over there. So I have a worksheet for you, and this worksheet, if we take a look at our things to do, we have the next thing to do is the noun hunt activity worksheet. And so this is going to help us with our to-do list number 100 ways to improve our grammar. So what are we doing? We are making sure we know what nouns are. And what are nouns? Nouns are, they are people, places, and things. Let me get this centered there. And so that's what I want you to do for this noun hunt. Again, if you need to have this worksheet printed off for you, just make sure that you are emailing me at my email address, Dr. Feravich, F as in Frank, ERA, V as in Victor, ICH, at healthymindbodyspirit.net. I'll get that email ticker below that sometime soon. There we go. Okay, so if you need that activity, make sure that you send me that email at that email address, and I'll get that to you as soon as I can. The noun hunt activity worksheet. Remember what we're doing in our math and science classroom. The thing that we're trying to do in our math and science classroom is we are trying to get ourselves to discover things by engaging in life, by engaging in things that are real, not pretend things. We want to engage with living things. It is the way we're made. We're made to engage with people. First of all, primarily, the most important thing that we want to engage in is we want to engage with people. Got to keep adjusting for my back. My legs are not doing as well after seeing the chiropractor. So we want to make sure that you are getting outside. And in fact, I'm going to try and take the camera, even though we're going to get a little seasick a little bit later on, to get some of these things done outside for science. I brought some things inside, and I want to take us maybe for a moment outside as well. Okay, so getting you engaged in the outdoors by getting you to get active in finding nouns. Nouns are people. We have a picture of a baby there. So there are common nouns and there are proper nouns. Common nouns and proper nouns. And you should know, or we've had a lesson already on proper nouns, because proper nouns, we had a lesson on capitalization. So again, if you need that worksheet on capitalization, make sure you email me. I had that email address floating just a couple minutes ago, all right? So take a look at it. Dr. Feravich, F as in Frank, ERA, V as in Victor, ICH, at healthymindbodyspirit.net. We were covering our proper nouns in our lesson on capitals, and I will probably even be able to get you that lesson on capitals just to show you Here were the capital worksheets right there. Okay. So capitalization, when do we use capital letters? We use I can't see. So, and I'm going to have to do this because this is the only way that I can see it. Exactly what I'm reading. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just take off my glasses and now everything is a complete blur? So we use capitalizations for you know what the problem probably is that, yeah, it is our first sheet. The beginning of a sentence, the word I, what else does it say? Proper nouns and holidays, months, and days of the week. All right? Proper nouns are the names of a person like Dr. Feravich or whatever your name is. That's a proper noun. So proper nouns are the names of people. They are the names of places as well. Like if you live in Chicago or if you live in Michigan, right? Those are proper nouns. Even proper nouns would be the months and days of the week, right? It's a special day. Today is Wednesday. We always capitalize the days of the week. That is a proper noun. It's a specific thing, a day of the week, right? So people, things, we places like, oh, I already said that, Chicago, names I said, and how about things like the Eiffel Tower, for example, or things like a Remington gun. Well, that's the name of a gun, a special gun, right? Yeah, so I think, I know. I'm surprised I brought that up. I'm surprised I would know anything about it. But I'm just reaching out to all the different kinds of populations out there is what I'm doing. Okay, so now we have a better idea of what proper nouns are, right? The name, so special name, special people like you, your name. Special places like cities or towns, right? Special things like the Liberty Bell, right? Or like a maple tree. Sports teams, right? Like the Red Wings. That would be a sports team. That would be a proper noun. It is a special thing. So go throughout your day, get yourself outside and find some things like I did. Like I found some things like this special, it is called an honesty plant, I think, or a moon something honesty plant. We're going to show you and talk a little bit about this in science because look at this, the edges of that doesn't look like it's doing so well, right? Yeah. We also have got, let's see here. So here I've got a few, this is the plant that I have here. So this is that, oh, I forgot the name of it. Moon something honesty something or other. I'll tell you what it is. I'll find it. Moonwort honesty plant is what this is. Okay. And so, and that's a picture of it. It's not from my garden because it's not blooming right now. All right. So we have a proper noun here for the name of that plant. But also what I wanted to do with you is I wanted to do some counting. All right. So let's do some counting and let me show you how we can learn things by going outside and just really engaging with things that are living, even if they're not people. Let me show you. Okay, so here I have got a picture that I took of the leaves that I'm going to go ahead and put my face up here. I didn't put my face up here yet. Of the leaves that I collected. So the other day I told you that I was going outside and I saw those. Let me get myself way down here. There we go. Okay. And I told you that I found these outside on that plant. And remember the other day what I did on, it was actually a week ago on Wednesday, right? On our science day, when we first introduced it, I put this light in front of the leaf and you were able to see what was inside, which are the seeds. So today I want to do a little bit of math and science. Here, now you can still see me because I know that's so important. There. Stop moving, Annette. If you didn't move, but just move that, that would probably work. There we go. So look at that. Isn't that just awesome? I tried to get the light through just like this when I took a picture of it. Look at that. Isn't that so cool? Here's another one. And I'm going to show you another one too. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? You could see every single seed in there. So that got me interested in talking to you about science, which got me interested in looking at these plants and finding out a little bit more about plants. When we find out and we study plants, we are studying botany. Botany is the study of plants. So we're going to do a little bit of botanizing. That's not the right word. Don't even follow that along. I didn't put all those big words up there. I put some big words up there. But right now what I wanted to do is I wanted to count with you is what I wanted to do. So let's do a little counting, shall we? I'm going to take me off the video. Wish I would have turned that around. I wonder if I can. Oh, I guess I can. Look at that. So let's do some counting. Look at what I got ready for you. And so I thought in this way we could also learn that about what is called adding on when we are counting. So probably most of you know how to count, but we already did some counting last week. And if you need some practice with counting, take a look at last Wednesday's lesson. And I could probably help you a little bit with those counting items. We took a look at, let's see here. We had worksheets that looked like these worksheets. And what you needed to do is you wanted to circle the number that was correct after you counted. So let's do the very first one. We're going to count the very first one. We'll start with this. So we've got 1. That's what I was supposed to do. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So then what would you do? You would circle that number, right? You would circle then the 15 there. And I don't have really a circle there, and I don't really feel like adding one. But I will. Okay, so and then you would circle the right number. Okay? Also, what you probably want to think about is what we are doing here is we are adding numbers together. And so in the first set, we had a total of 10, right? We had a total of 10 in the first set. I'm going to take that number and move it over here. And then in the second column, we had a total of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the second column, we had a total of 5. And so what we're going to do is we are going to add 5 more to the 10. So 10 plus 5, I'm going to move that 5 over so I don't have to make another 5. 10 plus 5 equals, now I didn't make this in a nice line, right? Which I should do. Equals our total of 15. Do you see how we're doing that? So I'm going to make this a little smaller. Well, no, because then I'll screw up my numbers over there. I'm not going to make it a little smaller. So we can do addition by what is called adding on, right? Adding on. So in our first set, we had 10. We added 5 more red dots for a total of 15. So 10 plus 5 equals 15. Let's take a look at, because I spent some time with the seeds, let's take a look at the seeds, shall we? There we go. So here we can count and do the same things. So here is a way that you can count, and let me see what I've got over here because I don't know why I've got this thing over here. There we go. You can be out in nature and also practice your counting. So let's get a picture here of a couple good seeds that we have. Here we go. These look pretty. You could see these seeds pretty well, even though I don't have the light behind it, which really helps us a lot. So let's count these seeds here. All right, so we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and look, it doesn't matter how I count the seeds either. 10, in whatever order I want to count them, right? 10, and it looks like only one more, 11. So what do we have there for our math problem? We have got 6 on the first leaf, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the second leaf. So 6 plus 5, I'm going to take that 5 from there, equals, what was the total there? Equals, the total was 11. So 6 plus 5 equals 11. So see how you can learn your math skills simply by learning how to add on. That's adding on is what you're doing. You're learning your math skills by getting outside and by adding on. By adding on. We could take and count the number of seeds we have in nature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how good we're getting at counting? And now look, I'm going to take another leaf and we're going to count. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 seeds. And these are seeds. Isn't that amazing? Let me show you another plant with seeds as well. So we took a look outside at what was called our moonwort honesty plant. It's actually a moonwort honesty money plant. Why is that called a money plant? Do you want to know why? Because when those leaves turn brown and start dying away, they actually look like silver. There's trees that have leaves like this on them too. That's just a bush there, is what it is. And what ends up happening is they turn almost a silvery color. And when they are flying in the wind like this, they look like little silver dollars in the wind. Look at some trees later on in the fall and start seeing, if you don't look at them and go, that looks like a bunch of money in the sky, like a money tree. That's these leaves. They turn brown and then they blow in the wind and they look like a bunch of coins as they catch the light. They do. Okay, let me go to the next picture here. This is a picture of what is this? A pink dogwood, It's one of my favorite trees. In fact, I had, who was my best friend at the time, give me a tree when my husband passed, which is this tree. It's not planted exactly where I want it, but it's my favorite tree. And it just has all those pink flowers all over it. Well, in that tree, when I was outside, guess what I noticed? I noticed the fruit. The fruit of a tree is the part of a tree that protects the seeds. It might be like a tomato. It might be a lemon, right? Where you cut it open and you have the seeds inside. But it might also look like this, or it might look like this. This is the fruit of the tree, which is different than the leaf of the tree or the plant. We'll look at that. Look at what we have here in the fruit of the tree. Just like in our silver dollar or money wort, fruit. Look at what we have here. Can you see that? Can you see that? We have the same thing right up at the top there. See all those little bumps at the top there? See them? Those are seeds too. See? Now you could see them. Now they're at the bottom. See them? Those are seeds as well. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to plant this. And I'm going to plant this where I wanted that tree to be planted in the first place. And we'll see if I have one come up. But look, you can count the seeds in here as well. Look at 1, 2, 3. If I could keep it still, 4, 5, 6 seeds in there. 6 seeds in the fruit. What is the fruit? The fruit is the part of the plant that holds the seeds. So let's take a look at that then. So here I took some flowers off of that tree, or actually that bush, which is called the red weigela. The red weigela. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Weigela is what that's called. And so here's another thing I noticed in nature. Hold on just a minute, and I have to get it. They kind of died a little bit. Oh, you know what? I have a picture here of it. It doesn't matter. Didn't I put that picture there? No, I didn't. I should have it in my counting. I think I do have it. No. Let me see here. I want to show you this. I took a picture of this and now I don't have it. I do. I do. I don't know if it's going to actually come over or not. Hold on just a minute. I want to show you this. So these are the flowers that I pulled off of my red fired Wigelia. Those are the flowers that I pulled off there. And so this is another thing that you can do, is that you can count those flowers, right? So if we were to count those flowers, we would have I'm going to pull that up on there. I gotta put those all the way down. So we can count those flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. If I added more flowers, I could count those flowers as well and add those together. One of the things I wanted to show you about those flowers, though, was that I noticed what those flower parts look like. And I found the flower parts to be really interesting. What you can see right here is you can see I'm going to put the circle around there. Right here, even though that circle is red and it's kind of hard to tell. Let's see here. Let's change that color. Although that's not the best color to pick. So you can see the part of the flower that we have there, and that part of the flower is called the stigma. The stigma. So let me show you these parts of the flower. I don't think I put them in there. I didn't, but that's okay. I'm going to right now. So you can see right there that in each one of the flowers, I noticed that there was this part that looked like the other parts, but it was slightly larger in every one of those flowers. So that's where I have it circled. There were those parts. I gotta change that color. there were other parts you can see right here that looked very similar to this, but it wasn't exactly the same. Here's another one. So I was kind of curious about what those parts actually were. Let me move that down a little bit. And so that's what I did. I took a look into my science books to find out what the parts of the flower actually are. And so here are the parts of the flower. And you can see that there are two, maybe three basic areas of this flower, right? Three basic parts of this flower. There's the pistil, and the pistil has the stigma, the style, the ovary, and the ovule. So the ovule is inside of the ovary, and that is the part that gets fertilized in order to make more flowers. That pistil, the big part of that flower that I was showing you when we were counting here, that big part of the flower that I was showing you here is called the stigma there at the top in yellow of that flower. So that's the stigma. The smaller parts of that flower that I was noticing here or here, those smaller parts of the flower that I was noticing, those are part of the stamen. And so that stamen area is made up of those smaller looking stigmas, which are called anthers. And what holds the anther up is called a filament. So those are the parts of your flower. You actually have a male part of the flower, and you actually have a female part of the flower. Let me get my circle up here. Oh, I know what I want to add. There, never mind. So here, the stigma on the flower looks very similar to these anthers on the flower. The pistil area of the flower is considered to be the female part of the flower. The stamen part of the flower is considered to be the male part of the flower. And I think I can make that larger. I can. And what the stamen does is it makes pollen in order to fertilize the ovule inside of the ovary. Look at what we learned today. That is just extraordinary stuff, if you ask me. Let's take a look at our to-do list and see what we got done. Well, we did our 101 ways to improve our grammar. We did our noun activity sheet. We didn't do our new sight words. We're going to have to do, I've got new sight words for you. All right. So let's take a look at those really quickly. So new sight words here. Page 7 are contractions. And page 8 are proper nouns and abbreviations on page 8. So more sight words for you to remember to help you if you're struggling in particular with reading. 7, we have all the contractions. They continue on to 8. And then on 8 for our sight words, we have proper nouns that are abbreviations. You can see, for example, you can see there reverend, right? So reverend right there is spelled out, and the abbreviation is Rev, R-E-V, period, right? So memorize some more of those sight words. We've got 2 more pages for you. We got our sight words in. Counting activities on plants. We did the part of a plant. We didn't do the life cycle of a plant or germination. So we're going to come back and we're going to do that. And you know, another thing I didn't do is I didn't take you outside to see the plants. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that before we go. So let's go ahead and do what I promised. Going, what's that? But when we're looking at the life cycle of a plant, we want to check some of these things out when we're outside looking at wonderful nature. And these are all the plants that I started. So I pulled these out. These are sunflowers. You can see that these sunflowers are still in the early stages. We're going to look at the stages of plants. This here is watermelon, if you can believe that. My cucumbers, they're not looking so good here. They were doing well, but they're just so finicky. They're kind of finicky there. You can see, let me show you some things across the lawn over here. So there are some flowers and the corn I planted. Let me see if you could see it over there. Yeah, so way over there, you could see the corn I planted here and the flowers I planted. Let me try and point right here and right here, right there. And then over there by the lake, the flowers I planted way over here, right there. So getting into nature and then figuring out how not only can we be in nature, but also how can we learn from nature as well. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. Thanks for joining me. I'm holding up my camera now and trying not to make you sick. And that's what I've been working on for a long time, is trying to get the lawn looking beautiful again. And I'm really, that's kind of my mess. It's not really my mess. That's where I get water from the dehumidifier there. And then that's how I water my plants. So that's what I've been working on, as well as working on your classroom. I got to go because we got to be back here at 9:15 for the Bookless classroom. Thanks for joining me. I hopefully will see you tomorrow, where we are back to Joy Wilt's book. Let me clear my throat. Joy Wilt's book, Handling Your Ups and Downs. This is Dr. Annette. Thanks for joining me. See you tomorrow.